And joining us now is CBS News legal analyst Jack Ford. Jack, good morning.
Chris, good to see you.
That didn't take long, huh?
It didn't take long. It's like a rocket fastball.
I mean, this has got to be, I guess, very good news for Roger Clemens at this point.
At least for this moment,
yeah.
It is. You know, what happens is a mistrial is an unusual thing to take place inside of a courtroom. Essentially, it happens if a judge believes that something has played out in front of the jury that could have an impact on the integrity of the trial. We've seen things such as jurors talk with other people during the midst of a trial. We've seen that jurors going out and doing their own research, or a witness blurts out something that they shouldn't say. Now, more often than not, judges are able to instruct jurors, look, just ignore that.
Yeah.
Make believe it didn't happen here. But when it gets to be so important, and the judge here said this is way too big, has the potential to be way too prejudicial, and the judge said, his line was again, I can't ring the bell here. Yeah. So I don't have that as a remedy. As a consequence, this trial is over.
Okay, so the genie is out of the bottle here. Yeah. And what was it? It was actually a piece of video? Because the judge, I mean, like you saw with Wyatt's piece, responded and kind of said, look, this is so egregious an error, a first-year law student wouldn't make
the judge
something.
first was a little bit angry because the prosecution said something in opening statements that the judge had told him not to say, mentioning other people on the Yankees who had allegedly been using steroids. Here what happened is the judge they had argued about this, and the judge said, I don't want you to mention the fact that Andy Pettit said to his wife, yes, Roger told me he was using stuff. And the judge said, it's just too tenuous.
Got it, because
she says, he says,
she didn't hear it from Roger.
Inadmissible hearsay. So clearly it was supposed to be out of the case. And yet here comes this video, and you have a congressman saying, oh, and by the way, Laura Pettit says in her affidavit that her husband told him that Roger told him. So the judge said, look, this was clear. This should not be a problem. I ruled this is not coming in, and it showed up anyway. So this thing is done.
Federal prosecutor, though, why not listen to the judge?
Well, you know, there are two things that play out here, and that has to do with whether or not this is going to be retried. If a judge believes that a prosecutor did something intentionally, there's some sinister motive here. We've seen it in some cases, not a lot, but it's important to keep this, but prosecutors bury evidence that could have been exculpatory, or they coach a witness to say something when they know that they're not supposed to be saying. In those situations, a judge can step up and say, you know what, this is so egregious here, I'm not going to let you do this over again.
You had your chance.
The question becomes, though, if it's inadvertent, but grossly inadvertent, would that be enough for a judge to say, and this is going to be a real issue for this judge down the road, is that enough for a judge to say, you had your shot, you blew it, and I think it's really your fault that you blew it, and it was so serious that I'm not going to subject, in this case, Mr. Clemens, to another trial. The judge is going to have to wrestle with that decision. We'll know something back in September.
All right, Jack, thanks. Good to see you this morning. Have a great weekend.